Andy, here we have a very interesting Khamsin that was once on the cover of a major British magazine. Please tell us the story of this car that Mario Tozzi Condivi ordered.
Well, we didn't know that this was the case until the car was restored, but we found out through a source that used to work with Condivi that Mario ordered a Khamsin in this very unusual colour, which is called Luci del Bosco, and with a green interior. And we'd recently discovered that this car originally had a green interior because when we were restoring the leatherwork, we found that although it was most recently a tan colour, this was what was underneath, which is the original green. For most of the car's life, it's been red on the outside and with a tan leather interior.
Right. And tell us who Mario was.
Mario Condivi was a friend of De Tomaso's. He was the Maserati importer in the UK for many years, twice in fact, once as MTC cars in the 70s after Citroen, and then again as Maserati right-hand drive when the Biturbo era started.
I see. So tell us about the restoration process of this car, because you obviously did a very complete, thorough job.
We'd done a lot of work on the car over the years, and the owner was very enthusiastic and used the car a lot.
Yeah.
But finally the body was starting to show signs of rust.
Yes.
And so we stripped the car down and it went off to a guy who we used at the time called Jim Henshaw, who was a sort of artisan body restorer, just a one-man band.
Yes.
So it took him a long time to do the body work, but
imagine.
he did do it. And it was during that process that the red paint came off, and we all decided we'd go for the original colour.
And was there some Luci del Bosco left underneath?
There was, underneath the windscreen, the window trims on the doors and things like that.
They hadn't removed.
So they hadn't removed it all.
And what were the biggest challenges for this particular restoration?
I suppose a lot of the challenge was finding a decent leather colour that was the right shade of the green.
Right.
We had a problem, we couldn't work out what the carpet colour was, because actually Maserati didn't record the carpet colour on the original documents a lot of the time. So we had to choose a colour that we thought went with the exterior paint, but also wasn't too far off the green. So we've gone for a kind of wheat coloured carpet, which is quite a common choice. It's possible this had the crazy sort of patterned carpet that some of the early Khamsins did have.
Yes, absolutely.
But sadly nobody can remember.
Can you show us the engine?
Yeah, sure. So we did a complete engine rebuild. This is one of the few cars that we had looked after that had done a lot of miles, been very enthusiastically used by its owner. But the head gaskets had finally gone, and it had allowed water to sit in the bores, and so the bores were rusty. So that started the process of rebuilding the engine completely, which we did with all the sort of normal processes that we do. The owner of this car, because he has so much experience of driving it, always felt that he was worried about underbonnet temperatures and overheating. So he asked us to make an aluminium radiator for it to reduce the running temperatures, and also we ceramic coated the exhaust manifolds and things like that. So it's usable even in the height of a British summer anyway.
Have you done many radiators like that for Khamsins?
We've done quite a few, although I don't think it's strictly speaking necessary. If everything is in good condition, then the original radiator is as good as anything.
Will work, yes. We
have another Khamsin next door that belonged, I think almost from new to a man who lived in Harpenden, which is the next town.
Yes.
And when he sold it, it went to Hong Kong 5 years ago.
Yes.
And now it's back here for work.
Yes.
But it's only on its second owner now. So.
There you go. There you go. And you were telling us earlier that you are now remaking the LA Gem tanks for Khamsin. Is this one of those?
This is one of our new tanks, which we make out of aluminium rather than the original sort of tin plate that Citroen used.
So this is much more durable.
Much more durable, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it has all that. All of the rest of the LHM parts have been overhauled. And it has the new style, the sender for the light switch, which is over there, which is slightly larger than the original one.
Yes.
So yeah, the rest of the engine bay has just been basically reconditioned and sort of cosmetically
It
improved.
looks superb. It looks superb.
The gearbox and the axle are all still original and never been overhauled on this car. So.
Well, an engine bay doesn't look better than this. And then we have a typical issue that's very well sorted on this car. You have the foam there on the air vent.
Yes.
Because tell us what happens if the foam doesn't seal.
Well, you get fumes into the cabin because that's the intake into the sort of heater fan box. And it's peculiar on a right-hand drive car compared to a left-hand drive car, of course.